Do you remember Buell, EBR, and Victory? These once promising motorcycle companies are now dust in the wind. But guess what? Some of today's most recognized motorcycle brands are also heading straight for the scrapyard. Today, we're counting down the motorcycle companies that are barely hanging on. Will they roar back to life or vanish forever? Number 8. MV Augusta. Once known for jaw-dropping design and ferocious inline fours, MV Augusta has fallen hard. In 2024, global sales dipped below 6,000 units, a decline of nearly 40% compared to just 3 months ago. In North America, MV is now virtually invisible. Some dealers report going months without a single inquiry. So, what went wrong? First, MV's prices spiraled out of control. Even the basic Brutale 800 cost nearly $20,000, more than some full-dress touring bikes from BMW. Second, the brand's Italian reliability stigma never went away. Owners frequently report issues with electronics, sensor failures, and unsteady fueling. Third, parts availability and customer service are abysmal. Some MV owners wait 6 months for a simple part. And when KTM ended its brief partnership with MV Augusta in 2024, it pulled the plug on vital dealer support in the EU and US. Without affordable models or strong after-sales service, MV Augusta is stuck between being too expensive for enthusiasts and too unreliable for daily riders. Number 7. Zero Motorcycles. In the early 2010s, Zero Motorcycles was positioned as the Tesla of two wheels, a futuristic alternative to gas-powered motorcycles with silent speed, no emissions, and cutting-edge tech. Motorcyclists and tech enthusiasts alike imagined a future where gas stations were obsolete, torque was instantaneous, and range anxiety would fade with innovation. But fast forward to 2025, and the dream hasn't materialized. Today, Zero is quietly fading into the background. Despite being one of the oldest electric motorcycle companies still operating, the brand has failed to scale. Global sales have flatlined at around 8,000 units per year, and in the United States, their home turf, demand is shrinking. Dealerships report fewer test rides, less foot traffic, and longtime owners trading in their Zeros for internal combustion bikes or electric cars. So, what went wrong? The problems start with price-to-performance ratio. A top-of-the-line Zero SRF will cost you nearly $20,000. And for that money, you get around 100 to 120 miles of real-world range and no Level 3 DC fast charging. That's less than most entry-level electric cars like the Chevy Bolt or Hyundai Kona EV, which come with 4 wheels, a roof, and better charging infrastructure. Motorcycle buyers are also incredibly value-conscious, and Zero's bikes feel like a hard sell when mid-tier gas bikes from Kawasaki, Yamaha, or Honda offer more range, more versatility, and faster refueling for half the price. And then came the competition. Legacy brands once slow to act are now racing ahead. BMW's CE4 electric scooter is redefining urban mobility. Honda has announced a fleet of electric commuter bikes with swappable batteries aimed squarely at mass-market buyers. Even Yamaha's electric prototypes have generated more buzz than Zero's latest refresh. And of course, there's Livewire, Harley-Davidson's electric offshoot. Say what you want about Harley's aging gas lineup, but their Livewire 1 has carved a stronger niche. It matches or beats Zero on most specs, and comes with the power of Harley's brand recognition, established dealer network, and big-budget marketing. Zero, by comparison, feels like it's stuck in a feedback loop, iterating minor improvements each year without fixing the core problems. Owners complain of battery degradation after just a few years, weak resale value, and high repair costs due to proprietary parts. Software updates have also been inconsistent, and the dealer network is shrinking, with some motorcycle shops outright refusing to service Zeros due to trading costs and limited margins. The company did make a push to enter police and fleet markets, but even that effort has fizzled. And their attempt to launch a more affordable commuter bike like the FXE hasn't translated into strong sales. Why? Because commuters want reliability, range, and support, and Zero doesn't check enough of those boxes. At this point, the brand sits in a dangerous middle zone. Too expensive and underperforming for entry-level buyers, too underwhelming and unsupported for serious enthusiasts, and too small to win the arms race against better-funded global brands. Unless Zero radically rethinks its strategy, either by slashing prices, forming a major partnership, or investing in game-changing battery tech, it may not survive the decade. Once seen as a pioneer, Zero Motorcycles now risks becoming a cautionary tale, a company that had the first-mover advantage and still lost. Number 6. Benelli. Benelli bikes look great on paper. Affordable, Italian design, and backed by a massive Chinese company, Tianjiang. But here's the truth. In 2024, Benelli's sales collapsed by 34% across Europe and virtually disappeared in North America. Despite launching the TRK 502 and Leoncino models, Benelli failed to compete with Japanese reliability. Owners complained about erratic build quality, engine quirks, and sparse dealer support. And with Chinese-built bikes still carrying a stigma in premium Western markets, Benelli struggles to earn trust, even when the price is right. To make matters worse, rumors suggest Tianjiang might be shifting focus to domestic sales in China, effectively abandoning Western markets altogether. If Benelli can't build confidence fast, the Italian-Chinese hybrid brand may vanish from the global map. Number 5. Ural Motorcycles. There was a time when Ural sidecars were considered charming and retro. Now they're just outdated. In 2024, Ural's global production dropped below 1,000 units, a historic low. The war in Ukraine hit Ural especially hard. Originally built in Russia, the company scrambled to move operations to Kazakhstan and was plagued by logistical nightmares. But even before the war, the writing was on the wall. Urals are clunky, slow, and expensive for what they are. They rely on air-cooled 750cc boxer engines with tech dating back to the 1970s. And despite their charm, they offer none of the modern safety features or refinement found in today's adventure bikes. With emissions regulations tightening and very few new riders interested in sidecars, Ural could quietly roll into extinction. Number 4. Norton Motorcycles. Once a symbol of British engineering pride, Norton Motorcycles has become a textbook case of how heritage alone isn't enough to survive in the modern motorcycle industry. Founded in 1898, Norton built its reputation through racing dominance and iconic machines like the Commando. The name still carries nostalgic weight, evoking the roar of cafe racers and Isle of Man TT glory. But today, the brand is barely hanging on, propped up more by its past than by any compelling vision for the future. After a financial meltdown and fraud scandal under its former leadership, Norton was rescued in 2020 by TVS Motors, one of India's largest motorcycle manufacturers. The acquisition sparked hope. TVS had money, infrastructure, and global ambitions. Maybe, just maybe, Norton would finally make its long-awaited comeback. But fast forward to 2024, and that comeback is a disaster. Last year, Norton sold fewer than 1,500 units worldwide. That's not just a bad number. It's an existentially bad number for a company aiming to compete globally. For comparison, Triumph sells over 80,000 bikes per year. Even smaller boutique brands like Royal Enfield and MV Augusta post higher figures. Norton is barely a blip on the radar. The reasons are painfully clear. Production delays have plagued nearly every model launch. Quality control issues, yes, even under TVS, remain unresolved. And worst of all, the pricing strategy is utterly tone-deaf. Take their flagship V4 SV Superbike. At a jaw-dropping $45,000, it's priced to compete with Ducati's Panigale V4R and BMW's M1000RR. But when it finally launched after multiple delays, early reviews cited electrical faults, overheating, and engine oil leaks, all unforgivable sins at that price point. It's a boutique bike trying to play in a hyper-competitive, precision-engineered arena and losing badly. Norton may talk about craftsmanship and exclusivity, but when a collector-grade superbike shows up with mechanical problems, it erodes trust faster than a leaking crankcase. Then there's the gaping hole in Norton's lineup: no mid-range offerings. While competitors like Triumph have built empires around accessible, versatile models like the Street Triple, Trident, and Tiger 900, Norton is struck pitching ultra-premium machines to an increasingly niche market. And in today's motorcycle world, mid-range is where the money is. It's where new riders start, where seasoned riders downsize, and where brands build loyalty. Without an accessible, reliable entry point motorcycle, Norton is missing the single most important growth segment in the industry. So, what's the plan? So far, TVS has hinted at future electric models and new platforms, but without timelines, prototypes, or even concepts to show to the public, it all feels like vaporware. The investment is there, but the execution simply isn't. Behind the scenes, there are whispers that TVS is growing weary. Yes, they have the cash to keep Norton alive for now, but why keep funding a money pit? Especially when TVS is seeing better returns from its other brands and joint ventures. In the end, Norton feels like a brand that refuses to modernize, clinging to its legacy while the industry sprints ahead. And unless something radical changes, whether it's a sub-$10,000 model, a mass-market electric bike, or a complete operational overhaul, Norton risks becoming nothing more than a museum exhibit. A historic name, yes, but a future? That's becoming harder and harder to believe in. Before we reveal our final 3 brands, make sure to like and subscribe if you're enjoying the ride. Let's keep going. Number 3. Moto Guzzi. Moto Guzzi, one of Italy's oldest motorcycle manufacturers, is teetering on the edge. Sales in North America declined over 50% between 2022 and 2024. And while Europe still shows pockets of demand, the global footprint is shrinking. Guzzi's retro appeal isn't enough to compete with modern performance standards. Their bikes, although charming, are underpowered, and their tech often lags behind rivals. The V85 TT adventure bike, once considered a potential breakthrough, now struggles against faster, cheaper, and more refined offerings from Suzuki and Honda. Even worse, Piaggio, the parent company, appears to prioritize Vespa and Aprilia. Guzzi remains an afterthought in terms of R&D and marketing. Unless it reinvents itself soon, Moto Guzzi could become more museum piece than motorcycle brand. Number 2. Cleveland Cycle Works. Once considered a bold American startup, Cleveland Cycle Works aimed to bring affordable small displacement bikes to the US market, but the brand has all but disappeared. Cleveland sold fewer than 500 motorcycles in 2024, and many of their dealers no longer carry inventory. The core issue? Inconsistent quality and lack of consumer confidence. Their Ace and Heist models were essentially rebranded Chinese bikes with retro styling, but they suffered from poor assembly, difficult parts sourcing, and weak support. Even worse, their electric FXE prototype never launched at scale. Cleveland's website hasn't been meaningfully updated in over a year, and social media presence is nearly dead. For all intents and purposes, the company may already be extinct. Number 1. EBR Motorcycles, or Eric Buell Racing. Once the most promising American sport bike company, EBR has been resurrected 3 times and failed every time. Their latest attempt in 2023 involved a small-scale production run of the EBR 1190 RX. But with only 100 units shipped in 2024, the brand has virtually no future. Eric Buell's vision never reached mass production, and competition from Ducati, KTM, and even Yamaha made it impossible to gain traction. Investors have pulled out, development has halted, and aside from a few collectors and die-hard fans, no one is buying. The American sport bike dream is officially dead. Unless someone swoops in with deep pockets and a miracle plan, EBR will go down as one of the most heartbreaking failures in motorcycle history. We hope you enjoyed this breakdown of the motorcycle brands struggling to stay alive. Which one do you think deserves to be saved? Let us know in the comments. And don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the motorcycle world.